From ending Arnold Allen's 12-fight win streak to leading UFC champs in landing significant strikes, the UFC star Max Holloway has proved his worth yet again. I guess you could say that he went above and beyond this time around, which is fantastic, especially considering the fact that people had a lot of expectations from the fight. After all, it was the headlining event. The former champion and the streaking British contender were ready to give it their all, and well, both of them delivered perfectly. The event was packed with action, and fans wanted more.
This friggin' beast of a man right here, take the mic. Please do not boo the man. Let's cheer for him.
And the fact that it ended in a unanimous decision in Holloway's favor made everything much better. So here's how the fight went down. Holloway was able to defend his position as one of the top featherweight contenders, but it wasn't all that easy. The first 4 rounds might not have been that difficult, but the last 5 minutes, well, let's just say that Allen tried just about everything to overwhelm the man, but he powered through. He managed to land quite a bunch of straight shots at his opponent. Holloway's performance throughout this bout was a reminder of just why we love this man so very much. In the end, his win over Allen ended the Brit's 12-fight-long win streak. Oh, and that's not all. It was actually a pretty important fight for him too. You see, with this, he was able to extend his unbeaten run in the non-title contests. So where does he stand now? At a cool dozen. And there's something more. Holloway was able to break a UFC-wide record. More on that later. First, let's see how the champ fared through this battle. It was definitely a tough one, I'll say that. After all, Holloway hasn't had much luck in previous fights. If you've been keeping up with his career, you'll know that he lost his last 3 fights. His most recent defeat came at the hands of Alexander Volkanovski. Oddly enough, in this last bout, Volkanovski was declared the winner through a unanimous decision against Holloway, which just so happened to be the manner in which Holloway won his recent bout. I guess he learned his lesson. Allen, on the other hand, missed out on a title shot. Had he won the matchup, he would have been able to go against the reigning champ Volkanovski. But hey, you gotta give credit where credit is due. Allen did manage to land quite a lot of impressive blows. It's just that none of them were strong enough to knock down his opponent, who was out for redemption. Holloway's blows, on the other hand, definitely had what it took to win. After all, toward the end of the fight, he managed to bring down Allen on one shaky knee. At the end of the showdown, their scorecards looked a bit like this: 49-46, 49-46, and 48-47. Holloway had a little bit of trouble toward the end there, but it was not enough to keep him down. In fact, his performance proved the opposite of that. Holloway isn't going anywhere. And well, to tell you the truth, would anyone really want to see him go somewhere else? Do you really want to miss out on the amazing talent that he brings to the octagon? He's pretty much the closest we'll ever get to having an elite-level striker in the UFC. Don't believe me? Well, I'm just gonna let the stats do the talking then. In just this fight with Allen, he recorded 147 significant strikes. Now, that's something you don't see every day in the octagon. This brings the 31-year-old's UFC career total to a record-breaking 3,122. And it seems like he'll be able to hold on to that record for at least a while, because the next closest fighter to him is the great and retired Frankie Edgar. He holds the number 2 position, with a total of 1,801 significant strikes in his career. If you're a bit confused about the term, then let me clarify it for you. Significant strikes do damage to an opponent, and they're a bit more complicated than the normal strikes we're so used to. But get this, Holloway is a king over there as well. You heard that right. He also holds the record for the most number of total strikes. His current number is 3,366, which is pretty cool. Can you guess who's second to him in that category? Well, it's none other than the legendary Georges St-Pierre. His record stands solid at 2,591 strikes. But hey, I don't really see him posing a threat to Holloway anytime soon. Not unless he decides to leave his acting career behind and get serious about UFC. Let's be honest here. Do you really see that happening? So the young fighter has a strong position there as well. And get this, his career is far from over. So when the champ finally retires, this record might just be virtually untouchable. Wouldn't that be cool? There's no denying that Holloway is an exceptional fighter. But how does he manage to land so many critical strikes? Well, there are actually 2 reasons behind this. First, First, that he started his UFC career very young. His first fight was back in 2012, at 20 years of age. I'm sure you can do the math from here onward. Okay, so apart from this, there's also another point working in the fighter's favor. He wins most of the time. Oh, and here's an interesting fact for you. Fans are likely to bet in his favor in pretty much all of his matches because they just assume that he's gonna win. He's the top contender in any bout. On top of all this is fighting style. The champ's technique allows him to go in for rapid and consistent attacks, which not only leaves his opponent confused, but also continues to increase his strike numbers. This is probably why he's been able to beat some of the best fighters the Octagon has ever seen. But with great power comes great responsibility. Well, actually, pain in his case. Holloway might be the one to land the greatest number of significant strikes in UFC history, but he's also the one who has taken the most head strikes in the Octagon. Even though it might not sound all that bad, it's definitely something Holloway needs to worry about. The man has put himself in this position because he often forgets to fight responsibly, especially toward the end. Now, I know that his style has paid off well for the man. He's only faced defeat at the hands of 4 men in the UFC, but getting hit in the head continuously, that's definitely not a good sign. If you want the numbers, then here's what we're dealing with. He's received over 1,300 significant strikes to the head. Oh, and that's not all. In his bout against Allen alone, the champ was on the receiving end of 48 head strikes. Mind you, some of them were very hard. Yikes! I guess that's the price you have to pay for having a record of over 3,100 significant strikes. Of course, the fighter is aware of the problem. In his post-fight interview, he said, "I didn't want to get hit too much." The champ also added that he's trying his best to be faster and get hit less. If he manages that, then it would be awesome.
He got me in the last round and blacked my eye. God damn it, Arnold, my modeling career is in jeopardy because of you.
Now at just 31 years of age, Holloway has achieved more than many fighters do in the entirety of their career, so it's only natural to wonder what's next for him. Well, some fans suggested that he should go back and get his revenge on Volkanovski, but it seems like he's really got no time to fight Holloway for a 4th time. You see, Volkanovski is booked to fight against Yair Rodriguez. After that, he might be going for a rematch against Islam Makhachev. Holloway did call out the veteran fighter Chan Sung Jung for a showdown, and his potential opponent did verbally accept this challenge. But in the end, it's up to the UFC if they agree to it or not. Whatever his next step might be, one thing is for sure, his eyes are on the belt. With that being said, it's a wrap on Max Holloway's amazing accomplishment.